Good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Long, and I'm a junior studying politics and economics at the College of Arts and Science. And this summer, I had the honor to work at the Society for Community Organization in Hong Kong, alongside a group of passionate local human rights activists as a Global Human Rights Fellow. The work of these activists, who dedicated themselves to the service of Gai Fong, which is the Cantonese term for people in our neighborhood and community, be it through 7 a.m. protests at the Chief Executive's office on improving housing situations, or being physically available for the Gai Fong 24/7, even during tropical rainstorms, have shown me how the organization's mission, for people we care, for justice we act, is not just a slogan, but a spirit of empathy and proactive action that has and will continue to inspire me in every work that I do. So my summer spent working with these dedicated individuals took place in my home city, Hong Kong, which is a city of 7.3 million people, known for its futuristic skyscrapers and economic success as Asia's world city. But behind this glamorous facade, it has a history of negligence of marginalized communities, which includes former and current prisoners, refugees and asylum seekers, ethnic minorities, and new immigrant women. As such, a main focus of my summer project is on enhancing the access to justice for prisoners through improving the internal complaint systems and increasing the independence of the system. The Society for Community Organization, otherwise known as SOCO, is one of the largest local human rights organizations in Hong Kong that has long been working with current and past prisoners on improving our criminal justice system and also improving the treatment of inmates. SOCO's mission is to nurture grassroots people with a sense of civic rights so that they can exert their political power to the government, mainly through civic education programs, social advocacy, and also supporting support services for marginalized groups. And more specifically, under a human rights framework, SOCO focuses on empowering and organizing members of the community to exercise their political, social, economic, and cultural rights, such as the rights to legal counsel, right to reasonable standards of living and safe housing, and also freedom from unfair treatment in prisons. So my summer research project is titled Improving the Internal Complaint System in Prisons in Hong Kong. And it focuses on improving the protection of the freedom from unfair treatment in prisons through institutionalizing a fair, transparent, and independent complaint system within the prison system. And while Hong Kong's prisons don't have a reputation for physical abuses of prisoners, members of the public have often grown very complacent towards the unspoken rules inside prisons, such as abuses of frequent complaint makers and also bullying of inmates, especially those who committed serious violent crimes such as rape or murder. And actually, just as we were embarking on our research in the summer, quite a few media reports came out and reviewed that, not for the first time, that there are alleged physical abuses such as beating and humiliation of juvenile prisoners by the officers in Hong Kong prisons. And the labor union of the prison officers actually on the very next day came out and strongly denied these allegations and even accused the media agencies and social workers for fabricating and exaggerating these claims. And very soon these media reports and news died down. So despite the existence of both internal and external regulations against the unfair treatment of prisoners, Hong Kong's criminal justice system is still significantly lacking in terms of the mechanisms ensuring the compliance with rules and regulations, institutional support for complaints making and also processing, as well as the legal support and counsel for prisoners. As such, our research team began our study by taking a deeper look into the current system and also diving into each and every single step of the complaints making process, which is listed in the graph here. And we also developed an evaluation framework to evaluate the current situation. And this framework puts an emphasis on three main principles: accessibility of complaints making, accountability of investigation and prison officers, and also transparency and fairness. And with this in mind, we began conducting literature review. Another component of this research study is community engagement and data collection. During my time at Sokol, I had several opportunities to visit and also interview current detainees and former prisoners at the Lychee Kok Detention Center, which is pictured here. I also analyzed over 40 cases of complaints made in prisons and also several official investigation reports provided by former prisoners and also complainees. I also interacted with several government bodies, including the Correctional Services Department, which oversees and also runs the prison system, as well as the internal complaints mechanism within prisons, and also the Office of Ombudsman. With the support of former inmates who volunteered to review our recommendations and report, our team finalized the research study in July 2017, and we published a 30-page research report compiling the case studies and also recommendations. And we presented this report at a press conference, where we also invited a former prison inmate to share his experiences with complaining within and also outside of the prison system. And referencing these experiences, we came up with 9 recommendations. And here are some highlights, which includes introducing an independent equity officer, introducing confidential complaints boxes, mandating protective measures for complainants and witnesses, establishing a more accountable systems for record keeping, and also introducing an efficient complaints referral mechanism. So in addition to advocacy through research and the publication of reports, I also had the chance to participate in follow-up meetings with government agencies such as the Independent Police Complaints Council, attend petitions urging against subdivided units and also cage housing in Hong Kong. I also interacted with several members of Hong Kong's human rights community through different events and forums, and also organized press conferences for the different members of the community. So all these different exposure has definitely exceeded my initial expectations for this summer. And what I got out of this summer experience was one that draws on lessons in the past, informs me about what is happening in the present, and also inspires me for the future. Through the research project, I realized the importance of devising strategies to overcome technical limitations, such as taking into account government response time and also the need to coordinate actions with different other local human rights organizations, as well as the need to decide between directional policy recommendations and which are ones that are usually more appealing for the press to report in news, and also balancing those with more technical recommendations, such as, for example, introducing confidential complaint submission boxes, which are recommendations that are not necessarily appealing in terms of publication, but are relatively easier to be implemented. At the same time, my exposure to the realities of Hong Kong's prison complaint system prompted me to reevaluate how my past experiences can help shape the future of the system. In fact, one of the main recommendations I mentioned earlier, which is introducing an independent equity officer, was inspired by the diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and also the recent appointment of the CDO here at NYU. My 9 weeks at Sokol and the overall fellowship experience have given me the motivation to continue contributing to the empowerment of marginalized communities in Hong Kong. And it also, more importantly, pushed me to rethink what it means to do human rights advocacy. So thanks to the spring seminar led by Professor Ruben Carranza, I went into my summer internship with a new understanding of what international human rights implies. And I came up with my summer experience with a few questions that are lingering in my mind. For example, what is an ideal human rights standard, if there is any? Is it one that is mixed with international framework, with local characteristics? And if that is the case, what is the right balance? And who know what is best for the community? And especially in the case of, for example, working in Sokol, where community organizing is such a huge component, how can we effectively empower members of the community to speak up for themselves without us having to, in some way, feeding them into saying what we want them to say, or are we empowering them to really speak their minds? So these are questions that I will continue to search answers for through hopefully continuing my involvement with Sokol during my breaks, spreading awareness here at NYU with relevant communities and also back in Hong Kong, and also in my own academic and professional pursuits. So as my global fellowship and human rights experience comes to a close with this symposium, I hope to leave you all with this mission here today: for people we care, for action we act. Thank you and have a great evening.